Howdy folks, Moose Peterson here, talking about one of my, yes, this has got to be one of my favorite lenses, the 600 f4 VR lens. It is what makes Moose Moose, what can I say? Now, where you see it is where it spends about half the year. Yeah, literally, it's parked next to my desk. One, because I just love looking at the lens. It's just a beautiful piece of glass, and I just like staring at it. But more to the practicality, when I'm here working at the desk, either on the Cintiqs that you can see in the background or perhaps at my desktop writing, I have it here because I can simply shoot right out the window. We built the office so I can shoot right from my desk while I'm working, so I can shoot every day. Now typically I'm going to have the flash arm attached here with the Wimberley head, which I blogged about last week, but I've taken it off so you can easily see what's happening here. A couple things about this lens. First and foremost is that the fact that, let me zoom in here so you can see these controls a little easier so you can see what I'm talking about. Well, the minimum focusing distance of a telephoto lens is very important. Okay? It is very important. And in this case, okay, keep in mind that the autofocus, okay, focuses down to just about 17 feet. To get to its closest minimum focus distance, you have to do it manually. You have to manually turn it to get to its minimum focus distance, which is about 16 feet. And for me, that's perfect. From where I'm shooting out the office window, I can sit here and easily photograph birds on the perch that, yes, I have attached perches to the side of my home. What can I say? I love my bird photography. Now, a couple other settings. Move back the lens coat. I have all my lenses have a lens coat, the big lenses. You can see that the VR is turned on. Why? I don't see any reason not to turn it on. It doesn't sap the batteries, and there are times where shooting right here on my office floor and my dogs are running around, the VR actually helps. When the floor is moving, the dogs are bouncing around. Believe it or not, that's one of the needs I need for it. Basic settings on the lens barrel, let's talk about very quickly. Okay, we have your AM, MA, and M switch here, and what that does is it allows you to simply manually focus, okay, when you're in autofocus mode. Now, I have found the MA mode works best for me. The AM mode, it just takes too much concentration to make that tool work, and when you can concentrate on anything other than your subject, you tend to miss pictures. So I went with the MA. MA means that I can manually focus, and then to autofocus, I simply take my finger off the shutter release, and then press it again, and I come back to autofocus. When it comes to the focusing, I have it put on full. That's just a general thing that I do on all my lenses. Typically, I'm going to manually focus, fine-tune a lot of the time, but this will get me to it really fast. Since I'm on I never have understood this switch, but since I'm on a tripod, I'm going to put it on the normal mode. Why? Well, why would you put it on tripod mode? Because you're on a tripod. I don't know. Anyway, normal mode, okay? The memory recall, I never use, and the sound I never use. And what these are for, best described as, back from the old days when we had the mechanical version, okay? What they are is, let's say you're behind home plate. You're photographing a baseball game. You can pre-focus on second base. You can hit the memory lock button here, and then when you're photographing the game, all of a sudden something slides in a second, you can hit the button and the lens will lock back into that focusing distance for second base, so you can get the steal on film. So that's what it's there for. You can see the lens coat, the drop-in filter drawer. I don't access it anymore. I used to use a drop-in filter quite a bit. I don't anymore for the main reason, it takes 2 stops of light. You know, I still have them with me. I carry them with me. Don't remember the last time I used them, but drop-in polarizer, 2 stops of light. Tend not to want to lose that 2 stops because, well, I don't crank up the ISO. Now the knob here, okay, on the tripod collar. First of all, this tripod collar, okay, the lens is always loose in it, so it can rotate. I never tighten it. But this collar, okay, it sometimes binds. Just the way it is. Typically because it's loose here. This is loose. You've wiggled the lens up and down, and it binds in there. I do tend to keep this a little bit on the tighter side of life because of that, just so I have to actually really kind of make it move. If you'll notice, I don't have the 2 lens shades. Can you notice that? Here, I only use the one lens shade. The second one's not attached. Why is that? I don't need it. Takes up extra space, and the actual diameter of that shade does not fit in the overhead of many planes. And then tools that I always have with me, always, TC14 1.7, TC14E, the 1.7X and 1.4X, stop and a half and one stop of light are lost by both of those. Very rarely do you see the 600 being used by itself when I'm shooting. Typically there's going to be a teleconverter on here. And what do I do when I'm sitting here shooting at the office? Well, I get all sorts of cool things. Things like American Robin, Evening Grosbeak, Mountain Chickadee, Pine Siskin, Clark's Nutcracker, Stellar Jay, and our favorite woodpeckers such as the white-headed. Well, it's a short rundown of the 600 VR. That's the basics of the settings, how I use it. The lens coat on all the time. You notice I have no straps on it. I do have the replacement foot from Really Right Stuff. I'm not using the foot from Nikon. It gives me a shorter profile right here, which I like. You can see how I have it mounted on the Wimberley head. That way I can rest my hand on the lens barrel to use proper long lens technique. That's basically it. Hope this helps. I know at the moment they're hard to find, but they're truly worth it. Take care, guys.